Hey guys, so I had some plaster cracking, and this room in particular was the only room that was real bad. I got a few other places that I need to fix up, and actually this ceiling in here was a drop down ceiling, and that's why there's another layer of drywall, because I brought it down and the walls were different. So I'm just gonna probably trim up around there, but yeah, it looks like crap right now. But I'm in the beginning stages of fixing this up. Now I'm trying to finish it. So you can see that hairline crack behind there. And the plaster was solid. And it wasn't like wanting to fall off the wall or anything. I just had 1, 2, 3 big cracks above this window. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my green joint compound and a small putty knife. And I'm taking the mud, and instead of making a big swipe, you could do that. I'm gonna come back and do the big swipe last, because I feel like this is too big of an area for me to try to conquer with one big swipe. So this stuff is self-adhesive. Let me show you here. I ripped up the package on accident, so I apologize. But it is Red Devil. It's called One Time Fiber Mesh Crack Patch Self-Adhesive Super Roll. Used on interior walls and ceilings with hairline cracks. It's got the self-adhesion, provides reinforcement, cut to fit. So on here it's showing same thing. The guy is using like a, that's what I was gonna do, is sand after I coat this on here. Give it a light sand where I'm not tearing up the mesh, but where I can come back with a big final coat. So it says clean area and remove any loose pieces, which I did. And then it says, yeah, so face down, entire surface, keeping it as smooth as possible. And it should have 1 inch of overlap if you're lapping them. That way you don't get another crack. But yeah, this is Red Devil, and I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna shoot this video and come back and show you guys the final results. Thanks for watching. All right, I got all that on, and it looks like it looks bad because, well, those cracks actually were not flat, and it looks like it's just kind of all thrown up there and not smooth, which there's some imperfections in the wall. What I would do is just leave those alone, try to work them in as best you can, come back with some sandpaper, and then come back with a bigger blade, which is what I'm gonna do. And I just kind of feather the edges there like that. And I think that's gonna be good. It's not gonna be the last coat, but I think there's gonna be about at least 3 coats of this. Probably gonna have to do a light sand, coat it, light sand, coat it, light sand. I should be able to get away with 3, and then I'll be able to frame this window out. Yep, hey, thanks for watching. All right, I wanted to do a follow-up video for you guys of the patch roll of Red Devil. It is a mesh patch roll that's pretty large. I'll actually put in the description the one I bought. But I actually used it in 2 places. I started over here with my original video, and I also put, believe it or not, a big section like right here down to here and here. And the reason why is because I had several cracks in this old plaster, just too many to where I didn't want to tape it individually. And it actually went over here because this wall was a little soft when you press on it. And actually it's firm as can be right now. Like, you would never know that there was soft plaster there. Now, when I say soft, I mean there was just like an area where it was soft, not the whole sheet. So when I ran that sheet down, it locked all that together and made it almost a hole, and really helped it out strength-wise. So my honest opinion of this is I would say don't think twice about it. Definitely use it especially if your plaster is not coming off the wall, but is just cracked and maybe a little spongy in places. There's a few different ways to go about it, but I wanted to give this a shot and give a review about it. I will put in the description what I used again, and also a screenshot of the actual picture of the product that I used. As you remember in my video, it was like right here, and it was before I trimmed this window out and painted everything. And I also wanted to share with you guys a little trick. If you have old plaster ceilings and they're not true and perfect and they have imperfections, here's some worded advice for you. You can also add what's called a sand float finish. It actually has sand in it, and it's a latex high build for wall and ceiling. I actually used it on the walls and the ceiling, which this was new drywall. It just saves you from having to finish really into detail on it, and you still get that smooth look with a little sand texture. I really like it versus like a really smooth that shows all the imperfections. Oh yeah, there's the chandelier I added. Put a little gold trim around there. Got the old antique. This was already in the house, so I threw that back in. But yeah, just the little things, guys. The one spot I did notice afterwards is up there. I probably could have finished out a little more. Oh, another thing is when you're painting, make sure you use a flat paint. Now they say that flat is not easy washable and yada yada yada, but I mean, unless you're just all over the wall for whatever reason, or you got kids or something, I get it. But just keep paint and touch it up if that ever happens. I know people that use eggshell and stuff and they still have to touch their walls up because they're kids. So just save some of that. You don't have to repaint the whole wall. Just make sure that you have plenty for touch-ups and keep it where it's not gonna freeze and thaw, because that ruins paint. But use a flat paint when you are working with walls that have imperfections. That's my best advice, because it's not gonna show like a semi-gloss or a satin would, every little imperfection. It's all just gonna kind of blend in and not bounce light off is really what you're getting away from. Like, I'll show you, there's an imperfection right here and just all over, and you can't see it until you get up real close, but satin would definitely amplify any imperfections. So that's my word of advice. Get for what it is. I hope you guys like this video. Also, I wanted to say I did finish it like any other drywall. Like you saw me trialing over it with my scraper, and I put a coat on. I actually if you're not messy with it, you don't have to sand the second time around. Just go over it again, then do a light coat. You don't want to rip the grids and start breaking them, so just be really careful. I use like a wallpaper or a drywall piece of sandpaper, and just sand it until all the imperfections are down, and maybe do 3 or 4 coats total, and you're done. Finish it like you would any other drywall. I'm using it's great for areas that aren't requiring thick repairs. Light all-purpose drywall mud. So they sell it pre-mixed in a box and also in a 5-gallon bucket, and I believe they also sell it in a bag as a non-pre-mixed form that you have to mix with water. So check that out. Again, the wall feels nice and good. It's nice and solid with all that done to it, and then add the paint, and I hope you get as good as results as I did.